back again. We are talking about Sleeping with the Enemy. It's starring Julia Roberts, and we're doing this. It's a 1991 movie, and its popularity is down 269 points according to IMDb, so it's just in time to be talking about Sleeping with the Enemy. Directed by Joseph Ruben, who had pretty much a waste of a career his entire run. But I did watch this movie, and some things were absolutely amazing about it, so I am talking about it. This is, where's the description? There we are. A librarian fakes her death to escape her abusive marriage and start a new life elsewhere, but her husband manages to track her down. They did not put much effort into the description. It's like as straightforward as humanly possible. So anybody who doesn't know, Julia Roberts was, one of the it girls a few decades ago. She was highly sought after. She was highly praised. She received awards for various performances. And this one is just kind of a by-the-numbers thriller. It starts out with Julia Roberts and her husband. Her husband is played by Patrick Bergin. I know nothing about his other work, but he seems to have some other credits. He's been in other things, and he's still working. But in this, he plays the abusive husband, and Julia Roberts is the put-upon, initially doting, but subsequently homicidal former wife, but a justified homicide. Spoilers. So anyway, you've got the beginning, and it's one of the funniest things that I've ever seen because of the way that they write and plot out, because they have to show that he's, a horrible, abusive guy. So one of the early things that happens is that she forgets to straighten out the towels. There's supposed to be 3 towels, and they're supposed to be folded properly and at the same height in the bathroom, hanging on one of the handles for a drawer or something like that. So this is the first. He notices that the towels are out of sync, and he gets all pissed off about it. So from that, you're like, okay, I'm in for at least a bit of a treat. And he's wealthy, the house is amazing, and they live on the beach, so it's one of those Faustian bargains wherein she took the guy who has some suspect character qualities, but he has lots of money. Which already, it has the makings of a morality tale. This is one thing that I absolutely love about cresting this hill in film entertainment, because the technology was reaching a certain point where you could see things well, you could hear things well, but it wasn't getting all the way into all the digital stuff that they're doing nowadays. So they're still just telling more straightforward stories. And in this, just on the face of it, it's like, okay, yeah, straightforward that you have this abusive guy that you get with because you want the money, and things are probably not going to work out as a result of that. So it's just a great setup, and it's fun to slip into. Now, then they get into the best part of the movie, which literally, it made me laugh out loud, and I texted my brother to let him know how funny it was that this thing happened in this movie. So he's being all controlling and abusive when she doesn't listen. I think he actually backhanded her about the towels, if I remember correctly. He was like, they're not straight enough, smack. I think that happened. But beyond that, they're sitting at dinner, and she says that, okay, she's been working part-time at this library, but they have an opportunity for her to get more hours there. And they're talking about this over dinner. And he says, I don't know if that would be a good idea for you to take more of those hours. You have responsibilities here at the home. And she says, well, there's never been a time, just name me one time where your dinner was late. And he responds, I seem to remember 2 days. My dinner was late by 2 days, just like a year ago. So what about that? And she says, but you got your dinner, and obviously I was gone because I had to be. I couldn't miss my mother's funeral, and and I just could not stop laughing. It's so on the nose. It's like, I remember when my dinner was late, you terrible bitch. I had to go to my mother's funeral. It was so funny. Later, I realized it was like it was something else for her mother. I don't think she actually died, but still, I was laughing so hard. It was such a ridiculous way to try to establish this a priori setup about him being a horrible person, and he is just so over the damn top. All of his acting is ridiculous. It's like the silent movies. You see Dracula in the silent movies. Everything that he does is so over the top evil. It's unbelievably stupid. But that's the weird thing, because Julia Roberts is actually really good in this movie. She gives it her absolute all at every moment in this movie, even though there's so many ridiculous things going on. And she's playing off of this other character who's not doing this seriously. It's just a cartoonish villain. But she is legitimately making a character out of this and putting in all of her effort in this very B-level genre movie. But anyway, she devises this whole thing so she could... Oh, right! There was a guy who was their neighbor, and he was out on his boat, and the husband goes to talk to the guy, and the guy says, "Oh yeah, I saw your wife in the window, right? And I'd love to take you guys out sailing at some point if you want to." And so the husband says, "Oh yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, we might do that. Let me go talk to my wife." And he goes and talks to her, and he's like, "So that you're gonna tell me about this guy who saw you in the window? You've been flirting with him?" I think he like uppercuts her or something. It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. But he gets super jealous and super mad about her having matched eyes with the neighbor one time at some point. So that they do end up going sailing, and she devises this whole plan that she's going to escape during this trip. She's going to pretend that she fell in the water and drowned, and she had set up this whole thing by saying that she couldn't swim, but later he learns that she'd been taking a whole bunch of swimming lessons at the YMCA or something. And so she starts a new life, goes to a new town, and he eventually, tracks her down or whatever. And, one thing, because I think we talked about at some point, we talked about that movie, The Invisible Man. It's the remake Invisible Man with what's her name from Mad Men. And it was so weird that the rich guy would be so unbelievably obsessed with such a mid-actress. It just did not make any sense. And I'm not trying to slight her. Well, I am, but it's not very nice, but I'm just saying. So, but Julia Roberts, it makes more sense. She's pretty damn gorgeous in this movie. So I could see wanting to track her down. I can't see acting like a complete lunatic, but she is beautiful. She has a great way about her. She's, a good actress, whatever. So she goes to this new town. She meets this weird hippie-ish theater guy who is doing little dancing things in his garden, and that's how she sees him the first time. And it's just like he's weird and effeminate. I'm not a big fan of this guy, but he's supposed to be the new love interest. They eventually get closer, and he helps her find a job, and it goes on, from there. But so anyway, there's another moment when he tracks her down, but finds her not dead. I thought she was dead, but not dead mom, and is asking her information to try to find Julia Roberts. And then he picks up a pillow, and the way they shot it is so funny, because it's like, he's gonna smother the mother. And so he's walking really slowly toward her with the pillow, and just looks like a lunatic, and just cartoonish lunatic, not scary lunatic. It's not like Hannibal Lecter. It's like Hannibal Lecter if you use the Studio Ghibli meme thing, that turned him into a Ghibli character. That's what it would be like. So he's approaching her and gonna use the pillow, and then somebody comes in, and he's like, "Oh no, just take it. You'll be more comfortable," or whatever the hell he says. So then, he ends up going to the house, and she's walking around. She takes a bath, which is on all the promotional stuff for some reason. Oh, well, I know why. But she takes a bath, and she notices that the rags on the handle are all in order, because she specifically made sure not to do that because, the trauma from doing that before. She kept getting backhand whenever one of them was out of place. So she notices that, and she's like, "Oh my God, something's off." And then she notices other things that are wrong and tries to leave, but then he's there. They get into a skirmish. The other guy shows up and tries to fight him, but gets his ass kicked, which is great. No, wonderful. You're a real protector. But he gets knocked out. She gets the gun. She calls the police, and then she's like, "I just killed my ex-husband," or whatever, and then hangs up, and then shoots him, but he keeps coming because he's a cartoonish villain. And then shoots him again, and then shoots him again, and he's still coming for her, and eventually collapses, and then she's crying and collapsed next to him, and then he grabs the gun, but luckily she had used all the bullets, and then he, dies his ignominious, abusive husband villain death. So that is the movie Sleeping with the Enemy. It's not an especially competent movie. Julia Roberts was great, honestly. There were some fun moments. There were things that made me laugh for sure, that were amazing, that I'll remember forever. But I mean, the real point of it is that in the 90s, they were willing to do these genuine archetypal stories. Like in this case, it's just the moral of the story being, if you get with a man to try to just enjoy the benefits of something that he didn't earn by character, something that he was just gifted, or if he's a terrible person and got it that way, then you run the risk of having this kind of a relationship. You're not with a real quality man. And so eventually that lack of character is going to make its presence known, and all the trinkets and all the financial advantages you might get from that are just not worth it. Not worth it having that kind of a weak man as your paramour. So it's a fun little 90s. I love every movie that was made in the 90s. They all have so much personality. We've talked about it before. Like the last one that I did before I did this one, before I got put in YouTube jail, was that Hush movie. And I hate Gwyneth Paltrow, but there's so much fun to be had in that movie. It was great. So yeah, we will talk about like legitimate movies. We actually will. I'm just trying to get back in the swing of posting these things and see what kind of viewership I can actually get on these before I do bigger, more substantive videos, because it is really annoying when I do one and I think Hush got 4 views or something like that after I got put in YouTube jail. So it's frustrating to put the time and effort into watching it and then recording and editing and all that stuff, and that's why I'm trying to streamline it for now until later, where I can do more really put together, well structured videos on these topics. So we'll see where we get there, but there's definitely one I want to do about Get Out for sure that will settle that whole debate. And there's some great movies that I've seen recently that I definitely want to do, and yeah, we'll get to those eventually. So anyway, anybody who's who's listening, I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.